Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Fish and today we're going to be doing my very late May wrap up. First of all, I just want to say a couple of days ago I hit 2K and I am over the moon. Thank you guys so much for showing me any type of love, subscribing, watching, commenting, interacting with me in any other way. I really appreciate it. I did not expect to reach 2K this year. Or just in general. I just do this for fun and I love talking to you guys, so thank you so much. Another thing as well, when I reached 500 subscribers, I asked if you guys wanted to see a Q&A, so I asked some questions on my Instagram. And then I was gonna do it, and then I hit 1K, and then I was like, okay, I'll do a 1K Q&A. Again, I asked questions on my community tab and also on my Instagram. I got them, wanted to do it, was already close to 2K, so now I'm here. 2K. So I really want to do a Q&A, so whoever has already asked me questions like on my Instagram and the community tab, I have your questions so you don't have to ask them again. So any of you who haven't asked me a question or anything, leave them down in the comments below and I will do a Q&A either after this video or the one after. But I'm definitely going to do a Q&A. It is long overdue. Don't you worry. Again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate all of you. Okay, enough of that sappiness. Let's get into the stats for May. Okay, so in May I read 7 books, which equivalent to 2,762 pages. Star rating wise, I gave 2 5 stars, 2 4 stars, 1 3.5 stars, and 2 3 stars. Genre wise, I read 2 fantasy, 3 romance, and 2 literary fiction. Age range, I read 1 YA and 6 adult. Mode of reading wise, I read 2 ARCs, 4 physical TBR books, and 1 Kindle book, which means I read 4 books and 3 ebooks. I thought I'd try something different this month and not go from lowest rated to highest rated. I'm just going to pick up books that are just on the stack and talk to you about it. Alright, first one I want to get out the way is Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid. This is a book I had to read for school. It wasn't that long. I actually wrote my final paper of the semester on this and I gave this 3 stars, I believe. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite. However, I did relate a lot to this because Lucy is an immigrant and she struggles with self versus society. So does she preserve the way she's been raised, her culture, or she doesn't change because she wants to fit into Western society? I come from an Asian country and then I come here to a Western country and a lot of my personality and my habits have been melded together. So I always have that fight between my self versus society, basically my culture versus Western culture. So I can definitely relate to Lucy in that term. And she is also a teenager at this point. So when she came into the country, she goes through puberty. There's a coming of age story and she struggles with that as well. Definitely can also relate to that because I came here when I was 14. So I essentially spent my teenage years, my vital years, I guess, because that's when you kind of discover who you are. So it's a very interesting read. The next book I'm going to talk about is Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 3rd book in the From Blood and Ash series, which came out in April, the end of April, and I read it throughout May. I gave this 3.5 stars. I'm not gonna lie, it was very disappointing. So the beginning and the ending was the highlight of the book, especially the ending for me. The ending was a 5-star ending. The poppy at the ending is what I was looking for throughout the whole book, but that was just not present at all until the ending. And the middle of the book was just literally filler and repetitions and just questions that are repeated later and just conversations over and over again about the same thing. And I get wanting to have conversations between characters and theorizing what's gonna happen, but it's so much theorizing that right now I can't tell you what was true and what was a lie. And also right now I can't tell you a lot of the world because there was just so much info dump that at the time when I was reading I got it, but then when I'm done with it I forget everything. So I don't know if I want to continue with this series because it is not an improvement from the 2nd book, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. It just got worse. However, it's just so quick to read and it's just addicting to read. It's really hard. I don't know if I don't want to continue, but I know the first book in the spin-off series, A Shadow in Ember, I'm not sure if that's right, but the spin-off series is coming out in September and I want to give that a try. What I liked about this series is the characters and the world. It's a unique world with a unique history, but the execution is not there. However, I still want to learn more about the world, sadly. But I do. Another complaint that I had with The Crown of Gilded Bones is that I don't know if it's just me, but the characters seem different as well. They seem more like juvenile. They're not acting as themselves. There's so much like sexual innuendo, like really childish sexual innuendo and like childish jokes. And I'm like, who are you? Who are these people? I don't get this. So I don't know if it's just me, but that's how I felt with the characters. So yeah, 3.5. The only reason it's 3.5 is because of the ending, you know? 5-star ending, but just like a 2-star book. Moving on from that disaster, the next book I read is Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. This is Sally Thorne's newest release, and I gave this 4 stars. It wasn't bad. Compared to The Hating Game, obviously it's not as good as The Hating Game, but this was such a cute romance. So it's basically between, ooh, what is her name? Ruthie and Teddy. Ruthie is a soft girl. She works at a retirement village and she just takes care of them, and she's a very like type A personality. She loves lists, she loves organizing, she's a goody two-shoes. And Teddy is a son of a rich man. I think he owns the retirement village or owns the company that owns the retirement village. So Teddy's rich and he is a bad boy. He has tattoos all over him. He has long, straight, gorgeous hair. And it's just a soft, cute romance between them, which I did not expect because Hating Game is such a like an angsty, hate to love romance, which I absolutely love. And nothing against soft romance. It's just not what I was looking for. But as a soft romance, it was done really, really well. There were 2 characters in here that were my absolute favorite. There's 2 old ladies. I can't remember their names, but they were my favorite. The banter and the sarcasm is just perfect. And there's a little steam in there, but because it's a soft romance, there's not a lot. But I still really, really enjoyed this. I definitely recommend if you love soft romance, go for it. The next book I read is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave this 5 stars. I love this. So Malibu Rising takes place in the 1980s, I believe, in Malibu, California. And it is about the kids of Mick Riva. If you don't know, Mick Riva is one of the husbands from Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I didn't know that until I discovered it when I read it. So some of the characters in Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones are actually in here. I haven't quite figured out which character is from Daisy Jones, but if you know, let me know. But definitely Mick Riva is from Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think Evelyn Hugo is mentioned in here at some point, I think. So we basically following Mick Riva's kids, and he has 4 kids. And we follow all of them. We get all their perspectives, which I absolutely love. My favorite thing about this book is the sibling relationship and the descriptions and love of the ocean and how that impacted their sibling relationship and how that made them close in when times are hard with their parents and with life. I really love that so much. This is my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I only read Daisy Jones and Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, my god. But this is my favorite just because of the sibling relationship and the love of the ocean. Those are my 2 things I love so much. It's basically about Nina Riva, who is the eldest of the kids. She's hosting an annual party at her beach house, and at the end, their house is on fire. And if you know, with California, Malibu especially, they get a lot of bushfires, they get a lot of fires, and that starts another fire throughout California. It's told in 2 timelines, so one in the past and one counting down towards that party, towards that disaster. And the pacing throughout this book was excellent, fast-paced throughout, especially because of the dual timeline. It's just so freaking good. If you haven't read this, I highly, highly recommend this. I buddy read this with Sam from Griff Reads. We had a great time reading this. I know she gave this a 4, I'm not mistaken. She didn't give this 5 stars just because the ending for her was underwhelming. She was disappointed with the ending, which is fair. I can definitely see that. But for me overall, like, I absolutely loved this book so much. I definitely want to reread this because I actually got an ARC of this, which is crazy. When I first got that email saying, oh, you got accepted for Malibu Rising, I'm like, me? Thanks. So after I read it, or when it was published, I got the book for myself so I can hopefully annotate it and reread it one day, because so good. The next one is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. So because I read Second First Impressions, I just wanted that angst because I didn't get it from Second First Impressions. I was like, okay, I gotta reread Hating Game. And I did, and oh my god, it's 5 stars. I love this so much. It's one of my favorite romance. Like, so many iconic scenes, like the elevator scene, the paintball scene. Oh, I love this so much. Like, I want to reread it now. It's just so good. It's basically about Lucy and Josh. Lucy and Josh work at an office in 2 rival like publishing companies that have merged together to become one, and they're both assistants to the CEOs of their respective publishing companies. So one day they get a promotion, a promotion offer, and in order to get that promotion, they have to compete and try and like get that promotion. But they vowed that if the other one gets the promotion, the other one would have to resign. So office romance, hate to love, so much angst and so much steam. Perfect. I love this book so much. If you haven't read it, like, please do. It's just so good. Also, I just realized the cover, Lucy has like red hair, but she has black hair. She has dark black hair. So I don't know why the book cover has red hair on the character. It's so weird. The 6th book I read for the month is another reread, which is Stormglass by Mariah V. Snyder. This is the 1st book to the Glass series, but the 4th book in the Chronicles of Ixia series. I have been rereading the Poison Study series with my good friend Abby from Abby Salter. Her channel will be linked down below for you to check out, and Sam from the Shelf Space Discord. The 3 of us have been buddy reading this whole series. This is the 1st book that they have read, that they don't know what's going on and all that, so it was interesting to see their thoughts and emotions through this. And it's also interesting to see my thoughts and emotions from this, because I haven't read the series in a while, and because I've read more fantasies now, I have standards. It's so hard to say, but truly, I have standards now, which is insane. Didn't think I have any standards. But anyway, this reread was very interesting because we follow our character Opal, who's a side character in the Poison Study series. And we basically follow 4 years after the aftermath of Fire Study, which is the 3rd book in the Poison Study series. So in this book, there's another mystery element in this, and Opal has to go and solve that mystery. And also there's a mystery behind the mystery and like 2 different plots. When it comes to Mariah V. Snyder, there's no one plot. There's a few things going on, few conflicts, and then they all come together in the end. That's usually how it works with her books. And with this, no different. The overall plot will span between 3 books, which is what is happening because I'm reading the 2nd book, Sea Glass, right now. So that's what's happening with this whole Glass series. And with this, Opal was really hard to read because in the 1st book she suffers with low self-esteem because of what happened in the 3rd book, Fire Study. The aftermath of that, Opal doesn't see herself as worthy of anything. So she has to work through that in this book and also in the other books. But in this book particularly, she was a bit insufferable. I'm okay with that because I like reading about characters like that, but I know Abby and Sam, especially Sam, I think, didn't really like that. Opal, very, very annoying, which I totally get. Like, we understand what she's going through, but like the constant whining is a bit, you know, hard. But overall with this, it was fast-paced. There was so many things going on at once. It was just good. I gave this 4 stars, not 5, because it's not my favorite. I do love the characters that are in here. However, I am liking Sea Glass more than Stormglass because of a certain character that is in Sea Glass, which I will mention when I finish the book and done my like June wrap up. I'll mention it there. It was a really good reread. No regrets. I'm enjoying my time with it. And if you haven't picked it up, I suggest starting with Poison Study and see how you go from there. The last book I want to talk about is You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is another arc I got from NetGalley. And I also buddy read this with Leanne from Leanna's Library. I'll link her channel down below as well. I was a very bad friend, a buddy reader, very, very bad, because when I read this book, I was doing my finals and stuff like that, and I totally forgot that I was buddy reading this. So Leanne, again, I'm very, very sorry. But she enjoyed You and Me on Vacation. Great. I, however, gave this 3 stars. Abby, I'm very sorry. I know you gave this 5 stars, but for me it was 3 stars just because, I don't know, it lacked for me. The romance in general was good, but the characters I did not like. There was no stakes, like the conflicts that were there also was very weak in my opinion. So this was just okay for me. It wasn't my favorite romance. However, I did like the writing style. I did like the travel aspect of it. I did like the 2 timelines that the whole story was told in. The characters were written well, but I only warmed up to them at the end. I was not in love with them throughout. But because I like Emily Henry's writing style, I will definitely try out Beach Read, because I know a lot of people say Beach Read is better than You and Me on Vacation, so I'm definitely gonna try out Beach Read. You and Me on Vacation is basically about these 2 people whose name I've forgotten. I'm the worst. But these 2 have been friends since the beginning of college, and every summer they go on vacation. And then 3 years ago, they had a conflict in one of the summer vacations, and then they never spoke to each other again. 3 years later, they kind of reconnect a little bit, and they go on a summer vacation, but also a wedding on the guy's side of the family. And on that vacation, they both try to fix their differences and their fight that happened, which we find out later on in the book. And they tried to like work through that and all that. It was really interesting, but again, not my favorite. I enjoyed my time with it, but I just thought it was okay in the end. And those are the 7 books that I read this month. And I'm very surprised that I have said all that within 25 minutes. I am very, very impressed with myself. Normally, it takes me an hour to do a wrap up. So, pat on the back for me. Let me know what you read in the month of May. Any favorites, any disappointments? What did you think of Crown of Gilded Bones? Because I would love to know your opinions on that, because I was so disappointed in that. And also let me know if you prefer Beach Read instead of You and Me on Vacation. Let me know about that as well. And don't forget, if you want to ask questions for the 2K Q&A, leave them down below as well. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't. Again, thank you so much for showing me love every day. Thank you so much. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.